Hello all. So welcome to day 10, Flying Autumn Leaves. I wanna name it alone, but I don't know why. I just felt like naming it Flying Autumn Leaves. Anyway, this is my favorite artwork, one of multiple favorite artworks. I would like to say that so it has a very deeper meaning to it than it is visible, right? It's just only one leaf that will be painting, and the focus is that leaf rather than the background. So let's get started. So we're gonna do a very simple sketch, a rough sketch of the autumn leaf, and then you can follow me exactly as I am doing, or you can choose to create your own leaf, right? So there's no compulsion on the leaf shape that you're gonna do, but just that it has to be something very similar to maple, but not exactly maple, some random leaf shape. So it's kind of a distorted leaf shape, right? So I'm gonna make a five petal for the leaf, right? So this leaf will have five parts, petals joined from each other. So that would be my leaf, and my whole focus is on the leaf rather than on the background or anything. So this is our main subject that we're gonna be painting. Okay, so as you can see, I've just very randomly sketched it, right? So this is how my leaf is gonna be, and I don't have any stem attached to that leaf. So basically, what we're trying to depict is this leaf floating in the sky, right? And that's what we want to capture. Okay, so the background of this is will be dark. So we're gonna you be using multiple shades of blue to make the background, and some paint spray also in between. So that's how. So the very challenging part here is you wanna paint around the leaf. Okay, also if you're very concerned about that you will basically hamper the leaf or go inside the leaf, then you can also choose to use masking fluid for this one. So I have opted not to choose any masking fluid for any of my paintings, so I'm gonna just go and work around it. But if you're someone that who would prefer to use masking tape, and if your paper allows you to do masking fluid, then yeah, just go ahead and so what you want to do, you're gonna just use a masking fluid on top of your whole leaf, right? Because that is what we want to not want to paint. So we are gonna take background first, and so if you're using masking fluid, then just go with it. I am very carefully trying to paint around it. So everyone of you who is not using masking fluid, just paint around the leaf, and it's a doable thing. Believe me, you will see me that how can you work around a subject more like a negative painting, right? So that's our subject, main subject that we're gonna leave behind and then paint around it. Now the other thing that I want all of you to decide is the your horizon line, right? Because that is your segregation line between your ground and the sky. So we are gonna do one third of the paper. I think we'll take it as the horizon line, and then we'll paint it. So what I'm trying to do is I am trying to paint some background, distant, very distant background trees, and then the reflection of those trees on the water. That is what we are trying to depict, right? So mark your horizon line roughly as I have done, and then pick your brush and wave it upwards in an upward movement, and then paint your shade. This is the indigo color that I'm using, so you can choose any other color. And if you also would like to do it in an autumn shade, then I recommend you can go ahead with some burnt sienna mixed with orange. I think that's gonna look very nice. Okay, so either choose to do with this blue color as I am doing, or also you can do something in the orange shade, and I think that's gonna look fine as well. Okay, but if you have to remember that because we wanted to show that they are distant trees, but we don't want to actually give them any kind of detail, just flick your brush when you do paint in that direction, right? So just flick your brush up. Okay, and then similarly flick your brush down when you're painting the reflection part around the leaf. Very slowly try to cover the border of the leaf, and you don't want to go inside it. Okay, so the same kind of movement up and down. It's a reflection in the water, but we're gonna just cover this up in a very lighter shade of what we have already painted, and then I'm gonna again darken those trees which are actually to be considered as trees, right? And not some background. So let's cover the whole sky in some lighter shade in the same tone, but dilute that mix with water and then do your sky. Similarly, at the bottom also you can cover it. And then once next time you start painting, you take one shade darker than we have already done for the trees, right? So we do that. See how that tree, that leaf is popping up, right? And that is what we want to do. We want that leaf to pop up because that's our main subject. The background is not our main subject. The leaf is our main subject, right? Now, what I can see is I'm not able to differentiate between the horizon line and the background that I did. Okay, so once your background is already completed, then we will just detail out the horizon. People who are using masking fluid, you don't have to worry much about, right? You can still go over your leaf on top of your leaf and then paint it because it's easier that way, that you're using a masking fluid. In some other course, I will definitely try to cover this masking fluid concept and tell you all guys all about it. But if anyone is interested in using masking fluid and you don't know, then just ask me and I'll guide you how to do it. Okay. So now, yeah, so that's the flicking movement that I was talking to you about. It just flick your brush in an upward movement, downward movement to get that tree shape, which is very important because we are trying to depict that as a jungle or a forest or a tree, right? That particular area, whatever you want to call it. So basically, those are the trees in the distance. From where I'm standing, this leaf came right in front of my camera where I took the shot. So that's something like that. That is somewhere very far, and that is why it's not very detailed. It's in the distance. Okay, but we still want to give that feeling, and hence that horizon line was very important for us to maintain, right? Once this is done, once you're satisfied with your colors, and that horizon needs to be very dark. Okay, if that is already done, then just wait for some time so that your paper is dry. Once your paper is dry, we're gonna move forward. What we'll do, so my paper is dry, so we're gonna just wet the whole leaf and then get started with painting the leaf. Make sure the leaf is wet and it's not going outside, so you don't disturb the color that are already at the background. Okay, we don't want to do that. So we just paint very nicely and wet your whole leaf. So the leaf that we are painting is kind of very dry, right? Once you are done wetting the whole leaf with plain water, we will be doing some yellowish shade, or I would say yellow ochre. Okay, so I'm using yellow ochre over here as of now because I want to give that base to this leaf. This leaf is the one which is already dried out. The dried leaves are mostly in shades of brown, right? So you'll see those leaves are already turned almost, most of the leaves they turn brown when they are dried. So that's the effect that we are planning to give this one. So we'll start with doing a base layer of yellow ochre on the leaf, and then we, as it's in bits and pieces, we're gonna drop some browns, right? So first we'll cover painting the whole leaf in yellow ochre. Once the leaf is painted in yellow ochre, I'm gonna take some Van Dyke brown and burnt sienna and then drop them into the leaf. Now again, this part will vary from person to person because I don't know how your color is gonna react with your water. So it will not be very similar to this one. But I'm excited to see all the kind of leaves that you guys are creating, the shapes, sizes, because nature is very vast, right? Not any leaf are similar to one another. So why even try to make do same, right? So yeah, so let's enjoy the process and drop in some more browns wherever you think, and then also figure out where your light is coming from, which area of the painting that you want to keep lighter, which area of the painting you want to keep it darker, and then do your judgment call. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna still add some more browns to this one, and for more darker shades, I think I'm gonna pick some Ventic brown, but then we'll also have to clear some of the areas which. So I don't want to make one whole color. As of now, it's looking like one whole color, right? So we'll see. So once you are done, right? I am taking now Ventic brown because I'm gonna go more darker than what we have done. So earlier what we used was burnt sienna, but now I'm going a little bit darker. Now even if you want to try mixing your browns with orange, I think that will also look nice. And if you don't want to make a brown leaf and you want to try something else, please go ahead and then try your same autumn combination that we have done, right? So in the technique lesson that we have learned, we did a mix of green, orange, brown, red, right? So that is also what you're interested. Okay. Now the Vendic brown that we are adding, we don't want to add at every one. So one part side of the leaf, I'm gonna do a lighter shade, and one is the darker where the shadow is not where the shadow is falling, and the other one is where the light is falling. So that would differentiate our leaf. And then properly define the outline of that leaf by putting some dark colors around the border of that leaf. Okay. I'm using a size 4 brush as of now. So if you're not comfortable using a size 4 brush, then pick up a smaller brush. And now I'm doing a lifting technique. So wherever I think there is a too much color I have added, so I am just gonna lift some colors from that area. So while lifting the color, it's very important that you lift the color, wash your brush in water, dab it on paper towel or tissue paper, and then come back again and then lift the color, right? So that's what I did. So I just made some areas lighter by lifting the colors. It's a very good technique to be learned in watercolor. It's basically combined with wet on wet, then lifting techniques. You are able to do a lot of things. Now, if you can see, right, the background portion is because it's dried. It's just looking like those distant forests, right? And this particular leaf is on the very front, so it's very near to us from where the picture was taken. So now let's see what areas have left, and then once we are done lifting the color, so I think there's one more leaf that I thought of making light, but I'm not sure. So I'm just gonna make some areas darker now, I think. So let's go ahead and put some darker areas. Okay. So let's do some darker areas on the left part of the leaf. So we'll do left part of the leaf a little darker than it already is. Okay, so now you can see, right? So few areas of the leaf are light in shade, and then few we are making it darker. Okay, it just will add another layer of beauty to your autumn leaf. So whatever we have done with the background, if you're not comfortable doing over the background, I recommend you guys do it in two parts. In the first part, you can try only the leaf, learn the technique on how to create this kind of leaf, and then do the background alone, and then maybe try to combine both of them. So masking fluid will actually make your life a lot easier for in order to do this background and then leaf on top of it, because it will not let anything mix with anything, right? But then what's fun in that? So we should also be learning how to play around our subjects, right? And then use some methods that are easily we can use, and then make our life easier, explore some areas, right? Okay, so let's define the leaf, which is the most prominent part. So we know that the leaf will cast a shadow, but then because it is not kept on a ground or falling on air, we just want to give hint to the background. Now doing this step is perfectly optional. If you want to create veins of the leaf, you can go ahead and do the veins of the leaf. But if you're not interested in adding any vein, then that's also okay. Now the shape of the leaf could have been more finer, but I thought I wanted to go with something very distorted in nature. So I just went ahead and then with some zigzag lines just formed a leaf. And voila, here we are. Okay, so you can also drop some rounds in the middle of the leaf to make it look like a hole in the leaf, or some dust particles or anything, or a mud particle also on that particular leaf. Oh, this is fun, right? See, such a huge difference it makes when you fill out tiny, tiny details. Because I know a dried leaf will not be very clean as it was visible earlier. So adding these type of details makes it interesting and gives us a good take, right? Now I felt like some areas are gone very dark, so I was trying to add a yellow on top of it, but it was not working. The color was getting dispersed all over, and I did not want it to disrupt than what it is already is. So we're going to just leave it like that, but then add some darker areas with using paints gray or neutral trend, wherever you think. Okay, so I think you guys enjoyed the whole process. This is our day 10. Thank you all for joining this class. See you in the next one.